Alright, good morning everyone. So today we're going to study quarter 1 for week 6 and 7. So the title of our lesson for today is Evaluating and Making Judgments. This is in your module. You can get your module while watching this video so that you can follow. Alright, when we say making judgments, we are tackling about two things. The first thing that that we might just cross our mind is the word subjectivity, and the second one is objectivity. So, what is subjectivity? Subjectivity is making judgment by involving your personal feelings and emotions. You call it subjectivity. If you are making judgment about or assessing things using your own opinions, own emotions, you call it subjectivity. The next one, number 2, is objectivity. This is the direct opposite of subjectivity. When we say objectivity, it says here in the caption that objectivity means being fair. So there is no presence of bias. Whether you like or not a certain material that you're going to assess, you're going to remove your personal feelings from the act of judgment. So subjectivity, it involves yourself. When we say objectivity, this is free from your personal opinions and personal feelings. So to give you a clear example of what objectivity and subjectivity is, let's look at the screen. So as you can see on the left, you can see a tree. It says that that is an objective reality. So when we look at certain things, for example, in the screen, you can see a big tree. But for some people, of course, all people or persons are different from each other. They don't see the tree as it is. You call it subjective interpretation. So, for example, number 1, the boy there. So, the boy is looking at the tree. He is thinking that that is a tree. But for the second girl in the picture, the one with the dark brown hair, that child might be thinking that, is that an apple tree? Is that tree bears an apple? So that's how she sees it. And for the third and the last child or person there, she might see that that the tree can be used for um, monetizing things. For example, he sees that maybe if I cut the tree, I will get some money. So you see, people look at one thing from a different view or perspective. You call it subjectivity if it involves personal feelings or bias. But when you say objective, that is the reality. We only have one truth, and if if you are making a judgment aside from your personal feelings or emotions, you call it objectivity. Okay, so when we make judgment, I'm going to relate it to our lesson for today. So as the title of this lesson, it says here, evaluating and making judgment of what? So in English, we are going to judge a certain um, image, a certain media. When you say media, it's videos or other examples. We have text, of course, in English. Texts include story or poems and images. So when we make judgments, we don't use our subjective feelings unless we are told to do so. So for example, in the questions, for you, in your personal opinion, what can you say about the poem, like that? So if that's a question, then it's okay to be subjective because the question is asking for your own opinion. But if the question is not asking for your personal opinion, then you shouldn't you should not use your own feelings or emotions, and you must be objective. All right, so it says here, so ma'am, you may ask a question, ma'am, can I how can I make a judgment without the involvement of personal feelings and judgment? So the answer there to that question, uh, let me revise the question. How to be objective, ma'am? How can I not use my personal feelings or emotions? By, let's read what is in the screen by using a criteria. So what is a criteria? Criteria is a set of standard and or principles considered in judging particular work, output, or performance. So from the previous exercises that we had, when you were writing an essay, you saw a rubric, right? It says there you will get 5 points if your paragraph is 3 to 5 sentences. 3 to 5 paragraphs with 5 sentences in each. So if you achieve that, you will get a perfect 5 point score. So that's free from my personal emotions. Kasi ganito yan, if Ma'am Ruth will involve her personal opinions about the text, kapag ginapangitan ako sa sulat, of course, gagawin ko, isi-zero ko siya. Tama ba yun? Fair ba yun? It's not fair because just because of that, uh, I will mark 0 for the score. That's wrong. That's why we have criteria. And criteria help us to set a standard about judging a particular work. So my second question is, pare-parehas kaya ang criteria for painting, writing an essay, evaluating a song? Alright, if your answer is yes, magkakaiba sila. That is correct. Bakit? Kasi magkakaiba sila ng skill or standard. So, for example, you are going to judge an essay. Nakalagay dun sa essay, it should be coherent to each other. Pwede mo bang gamitin yung rubrics ng essay sa rubrics ng dancing? May makikita ka bang coherence in dancing? Wala. So, they have different indicators and it depends upon kung ano yung i-evaluate natin. So, in English, of course, we're not going to dance unless we do dance in a poem. But most of the times, we are doing an essay. We are judging a story or a text or a poem. So, what do we do? How do we judge them? Yung mga ganito. We will study it later. Alright. So, the lesson for today, we are going to study our understand common indicators in evaluating a text. Ma'am, ano po ba yung text? A text can be a story form, and a text can be a poem in any of the two. So, paano daw ba yun ginajudge? Paano ba nakikita kung maganda ba talaga ang pagkakagawa ng story or poem? So, we have 6 indicators and we're going to understand them one by one. So, the first indicator in evaluating a text is called content. So, the keyword for this is concept. What is the poem or the story all about? Tungkol saan? Number 2, we have cohesion. The keyword in cohesion is connection. So, the question that we have to bear in mind is that when we are evaluating a text, is the story connected to each other? Like that. So, are they connected each other? Are the phrases used here are connected to each scene or content of the story? Number 3, grammar. So, grammar deals with fluency and accuracy. So, when we are evaluating a text, we would look at the grammar if the language structure is fluent. So if it's free from grammar, or we can consider what tense is used. So we may look at the story, and the author is, for example, the author is talking about what happened in the past. Of course, what grammar or what tense should be used in it? So it should be in the past form of text, as it is a recall. Number 4, mechanics. When we say, so content, it means concept. Cohesion means connection. Number 3, grammar means fluency. 4, mechanics, it is accuracy. Anong accuracy, ma'am? Saan? In terms of punctuation or capitalization. For example, what are the punctuations? Or punctuations are seen mostly at the end of each sentence, and sometimes they are transistors, or yeah, they when you see them, that's a sign of transition in a sentence. So are they used properly? And of course, capitalization. For example, you are asking in punctuation, of course, what should be used? What punctuation should be used if you're asking? It is question mark. If you are declaring, or um, when you are declaring or saying a statement, it ends in a period. But if you are excited and full of emotions, you use exclamation point, just like that. And capitalization. So in capitalization, we are considering proper noun and other things that should be capitalized. So that's for the mechanics. Are the punctuation and capitalization okay? Or are they used correctly? Number 5, word choice. When we say word choice, it deals with the appropriateness of words. When we say word choice, are the choices of words correct, or are they casual or formal? For example, the word choice in a text, and it is all about teenagers. The author may use a casual level of formality. So, for example, when they are conversing, the author might use um, millennial terms, and hindi masyadong magiging formal yung text. Casual because it's between friends. Word choice kasi affects the whole story. So, kung halimbawa ang ginamit, puro mga words na synonymous, meaning, um, when we say synonymous, they have the same meaning. So, for example, you saw the words never, not, no, they are all negative words. So it means that probably the story or the poem is negating something. So it plays a huge role. And the last one is tone. When we say tone, it means emotion. So if you were asked, so what is the tone of this story? I am asking if um I am asking what emotion did you feel after uh, reading a certain story or poem. So, halimbawa, sa story of Cinderella, what is the emotion at the beginning? What is the tone in the beginning of the story? The tone is sad because she was enslaved by her stepsisters and stepmother. But at the end, what is the prevailing tone in the or feelings in the story of Cinderella? Being hopeful, because when you continue being kind, right, good things will happen to you in the end. So you just have to hold on to your dreams and be hopeful. So that's tone, meaning emotion or feelings in the text. Alright, so to give you a further example of how to use these indicators, because this is what you're going to do to your module, let's examine this poem entitled Words by Angela Manalang Gloria. But first, let us know more about the author. Angela Manalang Gloria is one of the pioneers in Philippine feminism during the early times. This is in the American period. If if I can recall, because um, she was called a pioneer in feminism because she started a lot of liberating works um, about giving importance to the women, that women are not just made to bear a child, women are not weak like what others are saying. They are more powerful and capable of doing a lot of things. They are capable of leading, they are capable of procreation, not just procreation, they are capable of, upbringing things and making things a lot better. And women should not be enslaved. Yeah, that's the highlight of Gloria's poem about women. So let me read this poem. It says, Words by Angela Manalang Gloria. Let me read the poem. So the title, wait lang, but the title suggests that the title is words. So um you can now think that okay, so the poem is about words. What does Gloria says about words? So let us read the poem. I never meant the words I said, so trouble not your honest head, and never mean the words I write, but come and kiss me now, good night. The words I said break with the thunder of billows surging into spray, unfathomed depths withhold the wonder of all the words I never say. Again, I never meant the words I said, so trouble not your honest head, and never mean the words I write, but come and kiss me now, good night. The words I said break with thunder of billows surging into spray, unfathomed depths withhold the wonder of all the words I never say. So, if you're going to apply indicator number 1, which is content, the keyword here is concept. So the question that we should bear in mind is, what is this poem all about? And what is the intention of the speaker? So in here, you can write, the poem is all about the intensity and power of words. The speaker regrets that he or she was not able to say or convey what he or she really wanted to say to the addressee of the poem. So in here, we can say that, for example, uh, alright, we're gonna interpret the story first. So in the first line, it says here, I never meant the words I said. So the speaker probably said something to the other person, but it says here the word never. It says here that I never meant. So maybe the speaker was saying something to the addressee and he just spilled it out of nowhere. So you see, so he said something, but he regrets what he said, and never mean the words I write. So probably the speaker is writing something to the addressee, but as he says that, it says in the fourth line, but come and kiss me now, good night. It says there that, yeah, I may never mean the words that I said and write. That I never mean the words that I said, and I never meant the words that I wrote. But please stay with me. It says here, kiss me now. The speaker is longing for the affection of the addressee. So we can interpret here that somehow the speaker, for example, says I love you to the addressee, but he would want to he would want to return, he wouldn't want the addressee to trouble about the thing that he or she said. And then it says here, never mean the words I write, but come and kiss me now, good night. So for example, mayroon ditong kunwari lang ay girl or boy na nagsabi na I love you to the addressee. Pero he wants, or the boy or girl wants the addressee to know na, ay teka lang pala, wag mo masyadong isipin ha na sinabihan kita na I love you. Just like that. And then, so, nakalagay dito, never mean the words I write. Probably the speaker is saying na, though I said those things to you, wag mo masyadong isipin yung sinabi ko. So, it says here, it gives a feeling of insincerity about the speaker. Pero sabi niya, kahit sinabi ko yun, wag mo akong lalayuan. Give me more affection, but come and kiss me now. Good night. So, medyo confusing, 'di ba? Yung sa speaker kasi bakit niya sasabihin? Why would he say those words? Pero he would take those words back. Pero gusto niya ng affection ng addressee. Second paragraph, or stanza, I'm sorry. Second stanza. The words I said break with the thunder of billows surging into spray. When you say thunder, inihalin tulad niya sa kidlat. So, alam ko na masakit yung mga salitang sinabi ko. The words I said break with thunder of billows surging into spray. And then, at the last, he says, unfathomed depths withhold the wonder of all the words I never say. So, ibig sabihin, napakalalim, since unfathomed depths, malalim, ay walang unfathomed, meaning out of mind. Ibig sabihin, malalim, unfathomed depths withhold the wonder of all the words I never say. Napakalalim ng mga salitang gusto kong hugutin sa utak ko na gusto kong sabihin sa'yo. So, it says here na withhold the wonder. May mga bagay akong gustong sabihin na hindi ko talaga sobrang masabi sa'yo. At that's the meaning of that. So, unfathomed depths withhold the wonder of all the words I never say. So, it's contrasting to the first stanza. Because here, he wanted to really say things that he want to say, but he can't say it kasi probably nasaktan na yung addressee do sa first stanza na sinabi niya. So, let's move on to the second indicator. Indicator 2, cohesion. Sabi dito, how did the author present the ideas in a logical manner? Pwede nyo isulat, the two stanzas relate to each other. The first stanza talks about how the author regret the words he or she said and is linked to the second stanza which shows how powerful words are and how it is easily forgotten. So, ang hirap, sabi doon sa pangalawa, sa una, nagre-regret siya na sinabi niya yon, tapos bigla niyang binabawi. Tapos doon sa second stanza, he says na alam niya na masakit yung mga sinabi niya. Kaya nakalagay yun, it shows how powerful words are. So, are they related? So, the two stanzas are related to each other. Indicator 3 is grammar. It says here, deals with fluency and accuracy. So, what is the tense that was used here? So, the author used the past tense of the verb to imply this scene happened in the past. Regret happens when you did something in the past. Indicator 4 is mechanics, so it refers to the accuracy in punctuations and capitalizations. How did the author use punctuations and capitalizations? Did the author write correctly the punctuation and capitalization? It says here the poem lacks punctuation at its line break, so the readers can read it smoothly. Ayan. Let's go to the next one. Indicator 5, word choice. Alright. So, for the word choice, it deals with the appropriateness of words. So, how did the author organize the words to understand the meaning of the poem as a whole? So, for the word choice, ano yung mga paulit-ulit na nakita ninyo na words sa poem? So, it says here, the author emphasized the use of words by repeating it 5 times, including the title in the whole poem. So, ito pala ay excerpt. So, this is not the whole poem. She also used the phrases never meant, break with thunder, words I never say, to convey that she or he should have never forgot and said all the words she wanted or he wanted to say. So, paulit-ulit na inulit yung mga words na salita at saka paulit-ulit na tsaka nilagay din yung mga salitang never meant, never, words I never say, break with thunder. So, lahat yon ay sinabi to imply that the speaker is saying that this is a regret for the speaker's part. Let's go to the tone, the last. So, it refers to the emotion or feelings attached as expressed by the text. So, pag sabi nating tone, it refers to the emotion. So, for the tone, the emotion in the poem is regretful. The speaker feels bad for the addressee of the poem for not saying what she really wanted to say. So, the emotion in the poem can be sad, and what I wrote here, it is kind of regretful. So let's go to the learning task. What are you going to do? For learning task 2, you have to read the lyrics of the song To Love Again on page 28 and then answer the questions. Page 29 pala. Next, read and examine the poem on page 30. So it is a ballad of a mother's heart. So you have to read the poem and answer the questions here. So it is a story about how a mother's heart is being described. So ano daw ba ang um, tungkol saan daw ba ito? It's about the love of a mother. So you have to answer these questions. And then, pag nasagutan nyo na daw yung questions, ito naman po yung sasagutan ninyo. Dito na natin i-apply yung mga content, cohesion, grammar, mechanics. Ang guide ninyo ay yung kanina kong ibinigay na indicator. Ganon. Pwede nyo halimbawa sa word choice, what are the common words that are used in the poem? The speaker used this, ganon. And ito naman po yung learning task for next week. So this is for week 7. Under this lesson then, parehas lang sila ng lesson, kaya lesson 6 and 7 to. Magkahiwalay lang sila ng activity. So for this one, you have to read and evaluate this text on Fighting Poverty by Nelson Mandela. So anong gagawin nyo dyan? Ito. Sagutan nyo lang to. And then, the next one, after answering that, ganun ulit. Gagawa tayo ng, we will judge this particular text by giving comments about the different indicators. Kagaya lang din nung previous exercise. Tapos, last one, we will evaluate the speeches of the Miss Universe, of the candidates of Miss Universe. And, yan, magkakaiba-iba sila sa content, cohesion, grammar, mechanics, word choice, and tone. Ganito yung gagawin nating table para hindi magulo. And I would like to end my discussion for this one. The only person who can stop you from reaching your goals is you. So you have to motivate yourself for your dreams, to finish mightily, to finish strongly in grade 10. And hindi lang basta makagawa ng module, but to really learn from the lessons. So that's just it. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you to the next video. Goodbye.